Hi, time for another Meepology moment. In this video, we're going to highlight some of the most commonly used mechanics in board games to help new players understand how they are used and some examples of games that focus heavily on them. As always, you can visit Meepology.com and find out what games fit your personality. Many of the games on your list will utilize one or more of these mechanics. Here is the list of some of the most common mechanics found in board games in no particular order. 12. Cooperative play. Cooperative play is a game mechanic where all players work together to achieve a common goal, rather than competing against each other. This creates a sense of teamwork, and players need to communicate and strategize together to succeed. Some popular board games that feature cooperative play include Pandemic. Players work together to stop the spread of a deadly disease and save the world. Forbidden Island. Players work together to find treasures and escape the sinking island. Spirit Island. Players work together to defend their island and its inhabitants from invading colonizers. The Lord of the Rings, the card game. Players work together to complete quests and defeat enemies. Flashpoint, fire rescue. Players work together to save victims and put out fires in a burning building. The cooperative play is becoming more popular among gamers, and many games are releasing every year that incorporate this mechanic. Players work together to achieve a common goal, and the gameplay is focused on cooperation, coordination, and collaboration. These games are typically less competitive than other games and are often focused on problem solving and teamwork. 13. Betting and waging. Betting and waging is a game mechanic where players make bets on the outcome of different events, such as the roll of a die or the outcome of a race. This creates an element of risk and reward, as players can win or lose money based on their bets. Some popular board games that feature betting and waging include poker, obviously. Players make bets on the outcome of a hand of cards with the goal of having the best hand. Horse racing. Players make bets on the outcome of a horse race with the goal of picking the winning horse. Backgammon. Players make bets on the outcome of a game of backgammon with the goal of betting the first player to bear off all their pieces. Liar's dice. Players make bets on the outcome of the roll of a dice with the goal of correctly predicting the roll of that dice. The stock market game. Players make bets on the outcome of stock prices with the goal of making the most profit. Betting and waging games are typically gambling themed and can be found in different formats like board games, card games, and even video games. They simulate betting and gambling mechanics, and they require players to make strategic decisions based on the odds and the potential payouts. 14. Memory. Memory is a game mechanic where players need to remember and recall information from previous turns or from the game's setup in order to achieve a goal. This creates a strategic element as players need to pay attention and remember important details in order to succeed. Some popular board games that feature memory as a mechanic include the game memory. Players flip over cards and try to find matching pairs by remembering the location of cards they've seen before. More modern is Dixit. Players try to remember the details of different illustrations on cards and use them to score points. The memory game is a classic game that can be found in many different formats and variations. It's considered a game that improves cognitive skills and memory retention. It can also be found as a mechanic in other games, like card games and board games where players need to remember and recall information from previous turns or from the game's setup in order to achieve a specific goal. 15. Modular board. Modular board is a game mechanic where the game board is made up of multiple interchangeable pieces that can be rearranged to change the layout of a game. This creates a strategic element as players need to adapt to different boards and board configurations and adjust their strategies accordingly. Some popular board games that feature a modular board include Terra Mystica. Players build their own board by placing terrain tiles and expanding their territory, putting structures on them. Gloomhaven. Players build their own board by placing terrain tiles and use them to move and fight monsters. Terraforming Mars. Players build their own board by placing terrain tiles and use them to terraform the planet and build structures. The Isle of Cats. Players build their own board by placing terrain tiles and use them to expand their island and collect cats. Terra Nova. Players build their own board by placing terrain tiles and use them to expand their colony and explore new lands. Eldritch Horror. Players build their own board by placing terrain tiles and use them to move and fight monsters and prevent the arrival of the Great Old Ones. A modular board is a game mechanic and allows for a high level of repeatability and replayability. It allows players to experience different scenarios and challenges within the same game, and it requires players to adjust their strategy accordingly. And last in the grouping of some of the most common mechanics in board games is number 16, Press Your Luck. Press Your Luck is a game mechanic where players take risks in order to gain a benefit, but with the possibility of losing more than they gain. This creates an element of chance and risk management as players need to decide when to press their luck and when to stop in order to achieve the best results. Some popular board games that feature Press Your Luck include Can't Stop. Players roll dice and choose to move their markers along a board, but they risk losing progress if they roll certain numbers. The Price is Right. A player can bid on different prizes but risk overbidding or losing the prize. Roll for the Galaxy. Players roll dice and choose to re-roll certain dice, but risk losing progress if they roll certain numbers. Alien Frontiers. Players roll dice and choose to re-roll certain dice, but risk losing progress if they roll a certain number. Zombie Dice. Players roll dice and choose to re-roll certain dice, but risk losing progress if they roll a certain number as well. Many games feature Press Your Luck as a game mechanic, and it's common in dice rolling games for sure, where players need to decide whether to press their luck and when to stop in order to achieve the best results. It's also common in gambling-themed games, as players can gain a benefit, but with the possibility of losing more than they gain. Thanks for watching. We hope this gives you a better understanding of how many board games utilize one or more of these mechanics to deliver a fantastic experience for all in the hobby. Remember to check out for yourself what games you will enjoy by visiting Meepology.com or clicking the link below in the description. If you have other mechanics you think should be a part of this, please comment below and we will look to do a second run similar to this. Like if you love and subscribe if you will. We appreciate you. Thanks again for watching.